Hey there, I hope you enjoyed the Halloween 4 and 5 retrospective reviews, because I decided let's do it right, and let's do number 6 as well. 6 is called The Curse, well, it was eventually called The Curse of Michael Myers. And the original titles for the film was actually Halloween 666, The Origin of Michael Myers, and this is a troubled production. We'll even get into the film here. This is the 6th and last time you will see this character of Jamie Lloyd. And Jamie Lloyd will be played in this movie not by Danielle Harris, but by J.C. Brandy, and an actress that had the unfortunate job of taking over for fan favorite Danielle Harris, and doing so in a movie that was so very troubled. The film itself, in many ways, could be a step up from Halloween 6. But first things, I gotta get something out of the way right now. Joe Chappelle, who directed Halloween 6, and I use that term very loosely, also around that time directed Hellraiser Bloodlines, another classic in the sequels genre. It's obvious that Chappelle has no care for the genre itself, and or the actors, and much has been said about how horribly he treated Mary Ann Hagen and Donald Pleasance, and to the part where he basically trimmed a lot of Pleasance's scenes and even changed the opening narration. There are very few people that that anger me without having met them. Joe Chappelle is one of those guys. I grew up idolizing guys like Pleasance, and the Halloween series was very dear to my heart, and seeing guys like Chappelle come in and use it basically to further his career and crap over everybody and treat everybody like dirt doesn't run well with me. So I want to get that out of the way before I start into the review. Daniel Ferens, however, is somebody that actually cared about the series. He took some very big chances in moving it into a new direction, and Ferens would definitely do some great stuff later on. This is the guy that has brought us some of the cool documentaries, and is doing the Friday the 13th documentary. And if I'm right, he may have been the guy that also did the Net Redemption one. Ferens has a love for the genre that shines through, and a lot of people crap on Part 6, but Part 6 has some really bad stuff going for it, but also some really good stuff going for it. It's been a while since Jamie Lloyd has disappeared, and basically what we saw last was the Men in Black coming in and Dick tracing up the police station, and then Jamie Lloyd disappears. We find out now that an older Jamie Lloyd has escaped from a Smith's Grove Institute, where she has been held. And it turns out that a throwaway line in the original film, where Donald Pleasance basically says, when what's his name? When the boss of the institute tells Donald Pleasance that Michael Myers can't drive, and he says, well, who's doing a pretty good job of it last night? Maybe somebody taught him. Well, that takes that a little bit farther here, and we find out that somebody did, and it's not just a boogeyman aspect. That there's more to it than that. There's a cult called the Cult of the Thorn, and as wild and unrealistically cultish as this will get, it will still be 10 steps above anything that Rob Zombie put into the franchise later on with his explanation. We see Jamie escaping with a child, and we soon learn that the child is a product of Michael Myers, her uncle, in which basically we wanted to bring a new Myers into the bloodline. And and potentially take over from Michael and transfer the curse on. Jamie is killed early on in the film, and we're introduced to a character played by a guy that's now fairly famous for a lot of the comments he does, that's Paul Rudd, and the character is Tommy. And if you saw the original Halloween, the kid that Jamie Lee Curtis was babysitting is now an obsessed adult that wants to that's been tracking and keeping tabs on what's been going on with the Michael Myers thing over the years. So we got Tommy Doyle back again, played by Paul Rudd, who's an excellent actor. He plays it in a very kind of freaky, twitchy, paranoid way, and he does a great job with it. I love the way it was done. I'd really hope that we'd see more of him, and that Tommy Doyle become the Tommy Jarvis of the Halloween series. Unfortunately, this was not meant to be. Marianne Hagen has the role of, oh my god, I can't remember. Carrie Strode. Of course, Strodes were the ones that adopted Laurie. And she has a little boy herself now, and the little boy seems to be seeing and hearing things, but mostly hearing things. And we aren't quite sure if this is going to be another little Michael Myers or not. They kind of go in that direction. We see him babysat later on by the old lady that had been in town for years, and she had babysat Michael Myers back in the day. We find out soon that she is part of the Thorn cult, and that the cult, in actuality, is being led by the Man in Black, who is actually Dr. Wynn. Dr. Wynn was in the first film, is now played by Mitchell Ryan, a extremely established and great character actor. And when I was younger and I'd written a spec script for a Friday the 13th film, he was who I had in mind for the father of Jason Voorhees, actually. But it was not to come pass. The film moves at a pretty rapid pace. There's a couple of the glaring mistakes that you find happens because of casting. Howard Stern was supposed to be in the film, and there was a part written specifically for Howard that would pretty much have to be done by him to come across in the right way. Basically, a shock jock comes into town, and after having to not celebrate Halloween for all, which is kind of a nice touch, they're going to be celebrating Halloween, kind of like the kids are rebelling, and they're going to take Halloween back and celebrate it and make it a decent holiday again. Unfortunately, that's not to happen, and so a shock jock comes into town and talk about to see the celebration and talk about Michael Myers and do crap jokes and stuff like that. Howard Stern had to pull out of the film, and basically there's another actor put in, and I'm sure the actor may be good for other things, but he's not Howard Stern, and he didn't have that type of thing. It came across very forced and very fake in the way that he portrayed the shock jock radio announcer. It was one of the many problems that this film had, and this was a troubled film production. Marianne Hagen had been, I felt, very bullied by the director, Joe Chappelle. He had pretty much made Donald Pleasance feel kind of useless, and should have been taken off, but he wasn't. Earlier directors like Jeff Burr, for instance, were interested in filming it, but for some reason or another, didn't end up doing it. I would have loved to have seen what Jeff Burr could have done with it. Jeff Burr was also the guy that did Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, Leatherface, which I think is a very underrated film, and he has made a couple of the Puppet Master movies as well. Now, the film itself follows a pretty straight structure of basically the Cult of Thorn. They want to get the baby back. They grab Carrie Strode, played by Marianne Hagen, and basically they're going to perform a sacrifice. Tommy Doyle is pretty much the big hero in this one here, and we realize that pretty quickly on. Tommy is being set up to be the driving force for the franchise going on. Donald Pleasance at this time was not well, and this was probably going to be his last film. That's why we see near the end of the film that the Thorn curse basically Man in Black, Dr. Wayne, has been cursed to be the guy that takes care of Michael and makes sure that he does come back, and make sure that he survives and he kills off his bloodline. Once the curse is moved on, and there's a thorn symbol that is on Michael's wrist, then Michael will drop the mask and kind of like become the Man in Black sort of thing, with somebody else taking on the killing of the bloodline, which was rumored. It's hard to explain. It's some pretty freaky stuff, and there's looks like they tried to clone Michael, didn't succeed, which is the reason that they had to go to the niece, and finally go with the incest to get a purebred Myers. The Myers, for some reason, has become the Man in Black at the end of the film. And the reason a lot of this is marred is not due to the writing, actually, but it's due to the fact that the movie was so screwed over by so many people that we ended up seeing not the actual film itself cut, or even the actual original ending. Many were written, by the way, but the one that was originally done was actually taken, is now called the bootleg producer's cut, wasn't used. Actually, much of the movie was taken out to stop from getting an NC-17 rating. So we ended up seeing a very neutered Halloween film that had much promise, but really didn't get to deliver on that. I don't know how I really feel about Michael having an origin story and the whole supernatural aspect of it. It bothered me at the time. It bothers me less now when I see where they took Michael afterwards. I like the fact that although there's a cult, there's still a mystery to Myers himself. And there was a definite way to go forward with the films at this point. I'm not sure how it would have worked afterwards. Obviously, H2O would come up next, and it would be the movie that would kind of revitalize the series. And actually, why don't we get into H2O in the next one? Right now, it's time for a soda stream and maybe a little tea if I'm going to stay awake and do H2O. So, hope you guys are liking this one here, and let's go into the next one.